Hello out there in video land and in radio land. We got both of them going now today on this beautiful Tuesday. What a nice day out there. Not cold, not hot, just right. Mama bear, Papa bear, baby bear in the porridge, right? Yes, sir. It's beautiful out there today. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Studios of 4680Q, Your City, Your Voice. Hey, you know what? Thanks for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate all my listeners. I appreciate all my comments, my commenters. And appreciate all my radio listeners as well. I thought we were going to do the radio today. There was a little glitch this morning, and finally got it resolved, and here we are, up and running again. That's the good thing about it. You know a little bit, you're dangerous. You got your own show going on here. The weather, though, I love this weather. This is getting nice. The lawns are getting green. You're gonna have to pull out that lawnmower pretty soon and get them going, fire them up, get them ready for the summer. Unless you're lucky enough to have somebody to cut your lawn for you. Yeah, I don't have that. I cut my own lawn. The very little that I do is cut the lawn. That's it. Don't take that away from me. So we're going to get into the show today. Lots to talk about again. Every day there's so much to talk about. You know, it's amazing what's going on in this world as we sit right now. And I can't write enough. I always have overflow, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. Let's get to my sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. Now, we look at this weather. And you know winter's over, right? Are you savvy? You can look outside and you figure it out. It's going into the mid-60s to the 70s this week. So you have to be proactive. You have to get your car in for the spring spring tech checkup. And it's free. You go to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. They're going to check your car out from top to bottom, make sure that everything is working right. The diagnostic equipment, it'll pop up any error codes. You'll get them fixed. Check your brakes, your systems, your air conditioning, the whole shot, winter tires off, and you're good for another 6 months until the free fall checkup. Wild Bill's going to take care of that for you. And don't worry, if you get in the smash, it's got a full body shop there. Car in wrecked, car out showroom. That's the way you want it. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop on Oakwood Drive next to the Kia dealership. Give them a call today. Tell them Paul from Your City, who's got a cough. As soon as I hit the studio, I have a cough. It sent you, and you'll be good to go. Everybody will be happy. We thank you for supporting our sponsors because they support the city, they support the show. And also, thank you for subscribing to the channel. I think we're up to 125 at this point. So we want to make sure we get the numbers up there. We want to get the 200. We have an election coming up next week. We have one coming up in October of 2026 for the municipal elections. We got to get a lot of people involved, get a good turnout, and away we go. We're going to get the government that we deserve. Hey, good or bad, low turnout, high turnout, you get the government you deserve. That's all I can tell you. But the more people vote, the better it is. That's one thing I do know. So you got to be careful out there. The nice weather brings out the door shakers. And of course, I'm watching my cameras. I have cameras on my property, like most other people today. And there they are. They're out there shaking the door handles, trying to bust into the car. Going from driveway to driveway. These guys got a lot of balls. I mean, they just walk up your driveway and they don't run. I mean, they just saunter up. Like, who cares? Nobody's going to catch me. It's 1:30 in the morning. Who gives a damn? And even if they call the cops, what are the cops going to do? They're not going to do anything. And they're right. They're immune. It's unbelievable, but their attitude is just who cares? And that's because our governments give them the who cares attitude. You know, Mayor Jim talked about the broken window theory. Well, it applies to a lot of different things. And one thing it does apply to is People coming up your driveway and shaking your door handles. If the cops catch them, what are they going to charge them with? You know, there's nothing to charge them with. Vagrancy, that's what they should be charging them with. Something like that, throwing them in the slammer and finding out who they are and if they have other charges against them. But they won't even show up. But yeah, watch it in Scott Subdivision. That's where I live in Scott Subdivision. Watch it. My buddy Pat Sirianni lives over there too. Watch it. Make sure that they're not going to steal anything from your car. I mean, it's great to have cameras. That's pretty cool. You can see some bum coming up your driveway, shaking your handles. But like, what are you going to do? Can't identify who it is. They could be in any one of these places around here, wandering the streets. And usually there's more than one. They have 4 or 5 that wander the one neighborhood. They seem to hit neighborhoods all at once. Cherrywood Acres got hit, somebody said, last week or a couple of days before me. Luckily, my doors are locked all the time, and if I could hook up some kind of a battery on the door handle so if they touched it, they get electrocuted, I would do it. I would do it. Heck with that. Why should these guys be allowed to just come up your driveway and tamper with your things? But that's the way it is. And I would like even the police to be able to just stop them and roast them, and ask them for ID. And if they say, well, you don't have the right to do that, okay, great. I don't have the right to do it, but I'm watching you. I'm watching you, you bum. And just let them know that, there's somebody on the job watching what's going on. And they can, they're going to be taken to task if anything gets stolen or they have stolen goods on them. At least they know they're watching them. But right now, these guys seriously, they don't even run. They just saunter up the driveway like it's their house and they're getting home for the night. Shake your doors, walk down the driveway, shake the car next door, go to the sidewalk, walk up to the next one where there's cars out, shake their doors. They're not worried. They don't care. They're not running. They're not looking around like, oh, there's a camera right there. I mean, you can't miss it in my driveway. It's sitting there flashing a light. They don't care. They don't care. It's one of they didn't go like this, in the camera because they know there's nobody going to do anything. Speaking of homeless door shakers, you see the 2 encampments burned down over the weekend with a major explosion at one behind the train station. Yeah, somebody in Silvertown said they heard the explosion from there. So they had a whack of propane tanks over there. And there was a guy that did a walkthrough, and there's a bunch of stuff burned and everything, and junk all over the place. It actually looks like the city dump behind there. And there's about 20 empty propane tanks just sitting there. So I guess they don't bother taking them back for refills or anything or whatever. Just go buy new ones and leave the old ones piled up in a pile there. If anybody needs a tank, go over there. Grab them. They're probably still good. They probably haven't even run out. These guys just don't take them back to get refilled. They just grab another one, I guess, and pile the old ones up. Either that or they're out of date and they nobody's taking them in to get repurposed or whatever. But they're not. They're just piled up there. Everything's burnt up and everything. You think maybe they were just going by. Somebody put it out for the scrappers. They picked them up thinking they were, they could use them. And then they found out they're out of date. Nobody would fill them. So they just throw it in a pile there. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the city's got to take action on these encampments. Let's face it. Come on. It's a big mess. Dangerous with these propane tanks hanging around. And, for anybody to go out there and clean up this mess, it's dangerous for them to even do it because there's needles hanging around and junk and scrap litter. Who knows what the hell's going on over there? I keep saying it. Find one piece of land and put them all on one piece of land. Take them and tell them, here's the only place you can stay. Like Skid Row in downtown LA. It's 50 blocks, 75,000 people. That's where they go. Anywhere else and they're arrested. And then send all the services they need right there, all the mental health, all the PSWs, the personal service workers, or whatever you want to call them, that help them out mentally and drug addiction and booze addiction, whatever their problem is, help them out. They're in one place. You don't have to run all over town to find them. And they're not camping out like over there with explosions and fires and everything else. That's probably the best way to do it. Keep them in one area. And I don't want to say it's not about segregating them. See, people say, "Oh, you want to segregate them like they're less than you? They're human beings." Yes, they are, and they're not less than anybody. They have problems. But the bottom line is, how do you find these people? They're wandering all over town. They're living all over town. If we put them all together, at least we know where they are and we can help them. We can have on-site help, even portable setup where there's people that are there trying to help them and they can go for help and that kind of thing. Refreshment centers where they can go and take a shower or whatever, or get cleaned up a little bit, or there's porta potties, something to help them out anyway. I mean, just keep roasting them and sending them there until they get the message. But it's the only solution because the problem's getting worse and worse, and they're wandering the streets and causing trouble. And half of them, a lot of them are criminals. They have criminal records for one thing or the other. I mean, I don't know what else you can do right now until they come up with a solution. They're talking about building small homes and everything else, but you know, that solution is far, far removed from where we are today. So you want to wait for that, that's fine, but it could be a long time. Let's get it done now. Get these guys rounded up. Come on. Now, not much to speak of on the federal front, the election, except that PP's lead seems to be growing as people realize that Carney is just another Trudeau and will carry his agenda forward if elected. All this baloney about cutting the carbon tax is just a red herring to what he's really going to do. And he's always said he wants to make the carbon tax bigger. It's not big enough. We got to give more money to these countries that don't want to clean up. Because that's what they do, these guys, tax and spend. So you know what he's going to do. Anybody's celebrating the lower gas prices and the carbon tax off, anybody's celebrating that, they're gagoots, because the bottom line is it's coming back. It'll be something else. It'll be something else. I don't know what. I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be something else. And when it is, it's going to be even bigger than it was before. That's the way they work, the tax and spenders. It's always about fear this, fear that, fear mongering. It's crazy. So I did an unofficial poll. Take this for what it's worth. Nothing. So on my way here, I decided today to count the signs on the lawns and see where we stack up as far as the vote goes here. So on the way here, I counted 16 Baldinelli signs, 9 Kaiser signs, and 3 Mitchell signs. Now that translates to 57% to Baldinelli, 32% to Kaiser, and 10% to Mitchell. Now, I don't know what that translates in any poll or any vote, but I think if you get 57% of the vote, that's pretty good, right? Is it enough to get you a majority? I would think so. I don't know. You guys out there have to tell me. Leave your comment. Did you do your own poll driving around and counting signs? If you did, leave them in the comments. Let me know how you made out with yours. I should really go up to the north end, up to the big neighborhoods up there, and see if there's more business people in that, and see if they're more inclined to vote for conservative. But I know a lot of people are voting conservative. Even liberals who don't want another 10 years are doing that. They just can't vote for Carney. They just can't vote for the guy. So, we talk about these guys and, and they're running for re-election. And of course, the one thing PP says is crime. It's about crime in Canada and how it's escalated to absurd levels under the Liberal regime for the last 10 years. This turnstile of justice, this catch and release program the Liberals have had on, it's so ridiculous. It's sickening, to be honest with you. And when it gets down to it, we got to do something about crime. I mean, even Niagara Falls, we see stabbings and shootings and all the other crap that goes on. And you're going like, something's got to give here. Someone's got to step up and do something about crime. Now, I've said that the city, they don't have a lot of power over crime, but they should go and talk to the Niagara Regional Police and take the $3.3 million we give them for the the casino patrol and tell them, we really don't want to give you that money, but if we have to, could you please send the police down at Queen Street and places where these encampments are, and just help out? Oh man, up on Summer Street, that corner there, the old Coronation Center. What a disaster that is! I came by there the other night. It was the disaster, and those poor people in the neighborhood. That one apartment building across the street. They've had to put big gates up front because they're sleeping on the front porch. People come out in the morning and they got to step over these people sleeping on the front porch. I mean, that isn't fair. Now they got big iron gates up, and I guess you need a code to get in and out of it or something. It's like a prison. Those poor people are in prison there, right? They used to be able to sit out in the front that little porch there and watch the world go by. Now, are you kidding me? And they're all crowded around. It's just a nightmare. I don't know well, we know how it happened, but I don't know. There's got to be a way to remedy that for the people who live around there. But anyway, we should get the city, tell the cops, if you're going to take 3.3 million from us, here's where we want you to patrol. Patrol our bad areas. We don't need patrols down by the casinos. There's enough going on there. We don't need that. What we need them is areas where we need them. And that's down on Queen Street right now. A guy just got stabbed sitting on a bench. They picked up the wrong guy, and he had outstanding warrants and records and everything. Threw him in the slammer. Then they finally caught the right guy and then put him in for attempted murder. I mean, geez, anybody you pick up wandering the streets or have a criminal record. But the police can't do anything. They can't do anything about it until they do something, like stab someone. Got to get better at this. Cops have to have the ability to roust them. And even if they can't grab their ID or whatever, I mean, whatever they can do under the law. And if they can, at least they know they're being watched, these people. But, a stray bullet from a shootout kills a 21-year-old girl standing at a bus stop in Hamilton. This poor, beautiful, pretty girl, 21 years old, going to school. She's on a student visa, going to school, standing there minding her own business, black Mercedes in another car, getting a shootout. Right on the street, stray bullet hits her in the chest. She's gone. This is sickening. And you know what they're blaming it on? Andrea Horwath, the NDP mayor of Hamilton, blames it on guns. It's guns. It's guns. No, it isn't guns. It's gangs shooting guns. A gun sitting on the sidewalk wouldn't have shot this girl. It's people who use the guns. That's who we got to get off the streets. These gang members who get arrested and sent to the judge, and he gives them $25 bail, or they say, "Oh, I'll be good, boy. I'll be good. Oh, okay, go ahead. And then they go to court and they get 6 months suspended sentence or something. They're back on the street. It's ridiculous. But they're blaming guns. Guns are not what they have to blame for this. No. They got to blame the gangbangers who are in this country illegally, most of them, running around the streets, having shootouts for drugs, drug money, gang territory, whatever they are, and they let them stay in this country. They probably should have been deported a long time ago with a criminal record. They're undesirables, but no. The perps are never at fault. That's why we have these shootouts and these gang members running around the streets. Why do you think? Because they're never at fault. They never get sent away. They never get put away for good. It's ridiculous. But that's what happens in Canada. That's this liberal catch and release, the turnstile of justice thing. And it's not going to end until people start taking crime seriously, and they get rid of these liberal judges and liberal courts, and they give these guys the sentences they deserve. I mean, the city and the officials, the politicians talk about it. They cry and how horrendous it is and blah, blah, blah. A lot of lip service, but we don't see anything happening. Don't see anything happening. They got to either go away or go home. They're illegals. Or they're here even on a visa. Pull the visa. You're done. You're out. You're gone. I mean, I feel sorry for her family. These poor family, their family was on TV, and they're just beside themselves. She came here 2 years ago from India for her education, attended Mohawk College, and Dead. Now the liberal says, well, we can't arrest all these people. It costs too much to throw them in jail. So, so you let them out again? Deport them. Won't cost anything. Let the country they came from take care of them. If you don't want to deport them, I know where there's a real cheap place to send them to jail. A lot cheaper than leaving them in the jails in Canada. And that is El Salvador. Oh, the El Salvador president loves taking these people in. Loves taking these people in. Send them down there. He'll lock them up. You don't care. As long as you pay them. That's what the United States is doing, sending all these bums down there and letting and paying the government of El Salvador, which is probably 1/10 the price to take care of them as in the United States, letting them take care of them. And they're not getting out. They're not getting out. This guy built this prison because of the high rate of crime in El Salvador, and now has one of the lowest rates of crime because all the gangbangers in Trente Agua and all these MS-13 guys from El Salvador, they're in jail now. They're locked up. They ain't getting out. Crime is down to nothing. Safest country in the world from the worst. That's the way it works. So, the first thing PP's got to do when he's elected is change the way these sentences are handled. We've got to give the police back their powers. We've got to keep these guys off the streets, the gang members, arrest them and deport them, and then do a mass cleanup of immigration. Do a mass deportation like the United States. He's got to follow Trump's lead. You want to control crime? Sorry, that's what's got to be done. And I know all the bleeding heart liberals are going to be crying, oh, they have rights, they have rights. Well, you know what? Their rights stop at the end of a gun that's killed somebody. That's when their rights end. They have no rights. They go to jail and they stay there. That's the right. And if they're lucky, they won't be executed. That might not even be a right. Anyway, that's what has to happen. I feel bad for this poor girl and her family. Unbelievable. But, that's what you get. You're not tough on crime. That's the kind of things that happen all the time. And we read about it every day. It's not like it's anything new. Is anybody surprised by this? I'm not. I read it and I go, oh, there's another one. And what day is it? Every day there's something coming out of Hamilton now because they've let all these people in. They're not tough on crime. And you got NDP running that city. You got the region being run by Bradley and the other liberals. And the cops know who they are. Let the cops do their job, like they're letting ICE do their job in the States. And guess what? You clean it up pretty fast. But no, we can't do that. It's against their rights. Okay, well, that's what you get then. You just got to hope it's not you next time or your family, someone in your family. Okay, let's go to our special our second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And I'm going to tell you, if you like a good pizza, have a couple slices from Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. You're going to be pleasantly surprised how good it is. I had a couple slices before I came in here. I always have it on hand. Frozen. Take it out in the morning. By noon, it's good to go. And, cold right out of the fridge is fine with these guys. But they use the Mancini recipe, family recipe for the sauce, for the crust. And it's been around for 40 years. Successful franchises in the region, Pete's Pizza. So yeah, they're all good with it. Now, Mike knows how to cook a pizza. They use the right amount of cheese, that beautiful blend of Saputo, mozzarella, and the brick. Throw it in the right ratios on the pizza with the sauce, and you got yourself a great pie with a nicely cornmeal crust, which is one of my favorites. They got a full menu there, though. They got great wings. I had some last Thursday. Their wings are on special, $9.69 a pound on Thursdays. I had a couple pounds. Really nice, really good. Well, done to perfection. I love it. And also, they have a full menu of steak and cheese poutine, panzerotti, custom pizzas, specialty pizzas, combo deals. You name it, they got it. You're going to be happy. Open till midnight during the weekend, till 2 in the morning on Friday and Saturday for your convenience. You can't beat it. What do? You call 905-374-2222. Order your pizza by phone or Pete'sPizzaVictoria.ca. Order it online or Skip or any of those ones. They carry them all. It's Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Go grab yourself a nice fresh pizza. You can't go wrong. Wednesdays, $19.99 for a tray with 3 items. How can you beat that? Support our sponsors. They support the show in the city. Tell them Paul from your city, your voice sent you. Okay, let's go over to one of my favorite people, the Cheeto Bandito. What would news be without the Cheeto Bandito and his doing nothing? That's our MPP, Wayne Gates. Hard to have fees. He's battling hard. He's battling hard to have fees removed from the parking at the hospital. And way to go, Wayne. He stood up, I guess, in legislature and was talking about people having to pay to park that go to visit people at hospitals, and the employees having to park. He's calling it a tax on employees. They have to pay a tax to work at the hospital. Well, I don't know if having free parking is going to work. And I'll tell you why. Just going to bring about another bigger problem, free parking, and that's no parking at all. That's what's going to happen. There'll be no parking. You go there to visit your sick mother or father in the hospital or whatever, and you won't have a place to park. You know why? Because it's free. Everybody will be parking there. Yep, it's going to be a free for all, literally. And if you want to go visit, you're never going to be able to get a space. It'll be full 24/7 with people. There'll be residents that live there and don't have enough parking in their driveway. There'll be people who work there. There'll be people who are going to the professional building. There'll be people going to that little clinic across the street. The professional building is $5. The one across the street, I think, is $5 or $3. Wherever it is, free is always better than having to pay. And it's never free anyway. I mean, somebody's going to have to pick up the 4.4 million they make every year. So it'll never be free. There's going to be all kinds of people parking there. I don't even doubt if people park there and walk to the casino. Believe me, when it's free, everybody parks there. Everybody parks there. You probably end up seeing campers in there and crap. Free doesn't work in this society. You think it's bad now trying to find a parking space? Many times I couldn't even find one in there. Yeah, I had to go to the back parking lot behind the nurse's residence sometimes and walk through the tunnel or walk around and get to in the hospital. I couldn't find parking. And that's what people having to pay. Can you imagine if it's free? Yeah, it'll be a nightmare. You won't find parking. Oh yeah, you won't have to pay, but you won't be able to find any parking either. Now, I mean, you can put a 3-hour time limit on it so that it rotates people in and out. But if you do that, then you're going to have people checking it. So you're going to have to hire people, which is going to cost more money. You're going to have the gates going in and out, and then, you get your ticket and you got to go in and out so they know how many people are using it and that kind of thing. And somebody's going to have to go around marking tires or checking tickets on their dashboard. If they're over 3 hours, give them a fine or something. I don't know what they'll do. So the cost is going to be the same, maybe more, with no revenue coming in. And you know what happens if there's no revenue coming in? It's got to be made up. So you know who pays it? Us. I'm not going to visit anybody at the hospital. Why am I paying for other people to park there? But that's the way it works. That's the way it works. I think it's fair that if people need to go there and park, well, they pay their bill. That seems to be fair to me. Now you can argue about the price; it'd be a little bit lower, maybe, or something. But I usually find that if you're going to be there more than a day or two, you're better off just to buy the monthly pass, and it works out to be a lot cheaper, right? But either way, you're paying by taxes or by use. And an email from the Niagara Health System says eliminating parking fees would directly affect patient care at hospitals. Our most recent annual revenue figures, 2023-2024, show parking fees contributed $4.4 million, which is used to support patient care throughout the hospital. So they're talking about all the hospitals in the Niagara region. Of course, the taxes spent orange liberals want everything free, including parking. By giving hospitals the money, they would lose. Yeah, they would lose. I mean, everything's free in socialist land, but it's really not free, right? So if they don't have those fees, then they're gonna have to come up with the money from somewhere. Gates says they're really taxes, but handling the hospital $5 million to cover their loss would be taxes too. They're gonna have to get it from somewhere. I mean, really, it's all cuckoo bananas. I can't say that I'm in favor of lifting the fees. I know people shouldn't have to go to visit their sick friends or parents or relatives or whatever. Shouldn't have to pay, but somebody's got to pay. Nothing is free. They just repaved that whole parking lot a few years ago. Who paid for that? Like nothing is ever free. Look at this guy. He's brushing his teeth. He's walking by the studio, brushing his teeth. I've seen it all. And now he's going to rinse his mouth out and spit it out on the street. Yeah, he's brushing his teeth. Oh, talk about cuckoo bananas. He really makes a case for employees parking for free. But once again, if it were free, there'd be no parking anyway. So you're no farther ahead. You pay and you get parking, or you don't pay and you can't find any parking. Take your choice. What do you think out there in Videoland? Think they should pay for parking or not? Or should us as taxpayers pick up the tab, make up the shortfall the hospitals are going to lose from removing the parking? Let the employees park for free there, which they're going to take up all the parking lot, most of it anyway. Um, Nothing's free. We know that. Not even the Cheeto Bandito. He doesn't come free. He gets a nice big paycheck every week. So let me know. Tell me in the video. What do you think? Free parking or no free parking? What's your take on it? Thanks to Alan Benner of the St. Catharines Standard for the great article. And I always try to give credit to anybody who I get these articles from. I thank them very much for their professionalism on doing these articles. And that one was by Alan Benner. You know, I was looking and I saw a thing that said the price to go to a Leafs playoff game and get a good front row seat is like up to $9,000. Game one reached $4,156 for a 120 front row seat, section 120 front row seat. And now for game two, it's $9,000. I mean, only politicians and government employees can afford that. I mean, I certainly couldn't. I wouldn't. 10 grand? God, that would get me to Cuba 20 times probably. I mean, I just don't understand who spends that much money on any sports game. I mean, I don't even want to spend the $400 for a ticket during the regular season. You're not going to see me. You're not going to see me spend 9,000. Forget about it. And they want $400 for the nosebleed section, way up there. You know, where you're looking down on the ice and you're way up and your nose starts bleeding. You're so high and you lose oxygen. Yeah, if you want a real deal, the Delta Sky Club seats are only $2,251 each, and you get to stand up, standing room only. But you do have access to the VIP lounge, where a burger and a beer probably cost you $50. Heaven forbid you take your wife, that's $100. You're not going to get changed neither. You're probably going to owe a bit. It's insane. It's crazy. It's cuckoo bananas. And even for a regular home game at these arenas, you're looking at $300 or $400 to go in there and get a game, right? Just a regular home game during the season. So it's crazy. It's ridiculous. But hey, you know, there's that old saying, don't stop selling until they stop buying. And these crazy sports fans will not stop buying at any price soon in places like Toronto or Montreal or Boston or Rangers. They pay. They somehow there's people who want to pay this money and they will. Don't ask me who it is. It's nobody I know would pay that. Nobody I know has the money to pay that, I don't think. I'll find out if they said they went to a game. I'll be going, oh, this guy's got a lot of dough. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a lot of corporate stuff, but either way, that's way too much. That's way too much, but that's the reality of it today. And even if you want to take your kids to a game, you had a couple kids you want to take them to a game, you're looking at 2 or 300 a ticket, and then you're looking at at least $100 for food. You want a whatever and a beer. Kids can't have beer, but you know they get a pop or something, and that's not cheap neither. It's ridiculous, unaffordable anymore for most families. Crazy. Let's see. News stories. Let's talk about news stories. Hot for a week and then drop. So, in today's Whatever Happened to, that's what I'm doing today. Whatever happened to Luigi Mangione? Remember Luigi Mangione? Luigi Mangione, the guy who came up from behind and shot the United Healthcare CEO. What was his name? Brian Thompson, I think. And he just shot him dead on the street. They grabbed him finally. Took a few days. Well, this week he was indicted by a federal grand jury, and prosecutors are working to make good on the Trump administration's promise to seek the death penalty for what it called premeditated, cold-blooded murder or assassination in this case. Now, his lawyers have argued that the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi's announcement this month ordering the prosecutors to seek the death penalty was just a political stunt that corrupted the grand jury process and deprived Mangione the constitutional right to due process. Now, this guy is on video. They know who it is. Walked up behind this guy, shot him dead on the street in Manhattan. I mean, what constitutional right does he have? I mean, due process is to sending him through the courts. He remains locked up in a federal jail in Brooklyn. His state charges, separate from the federal charges, carries a maximum punishment of life in prison, and the state charges have a capital punishment clause. So he can be hung by the neck till dead or shot or whatever he chooses. That's his freedom of choice. Choose which way you want to exit. But either way, this guy's going away for a long, long time. And there's still nobody still really knows what happened there, why he went up and did this. They claim he had some health issues, and this guy, the United Healthcare, is responsible for him, and I don't know. Who knows? Manchurian Candidate, you sent on an assignment. These CEOs get knocked off like crazy. I mean, look at the last CEO that got knocked off. His helicopter just came apart in midair, dropped into the Hudson, killed everybody aboard. He was the CEO of Siemens. I mean, these CEOs they don't want who know too much or whatever are getting the boot. That they're getting the boot the hard way. They're being disappeared real quick. So speaking of whatever happened to, the U.S. government has come out and admitted they have the ability to teleport large objects. Yeah, they could teleport large objects through time and space. And that's a startling admission. I mean, what can they really do? I mean, the Philadelphia experiment, like for real? I mean, we have no idea. And then they came out and said that these energy beam and particle beam um, things are real, and there's some people suffering from them. A bunch of them in Cuba said they got hit by something. They don't know what, and it's affected them, and they're still sick from it and everything. They think it was a particle beam energy weapon. But this is crazy, and the admission could lead to the answer of whatever happened to MH370. Remember that flight from Malaysian Airlines that disappeared? Nobody can find it. Nobody knows where it went. And now, insiders are saying it was snatched to show the technology to China and show that the U.S. could snatch objects out of the sky at will. Of the 227 people on this plane. 153 of the passengers were Chinese citizens, up to something. We don't know exactly what they were doing on this plane, but they're from some technology company. And the source, when asked what happened to the people once they snatched the plane, said they're all dead. Now, this sounds far out, and I don't know if you watched this closely, but back in the day when this happened, it was a while ago now, people say they saw these orbs flying around the plane, and it was like a radar image of the plane with these orbs flying around it. And then all of a sudden, the plane just disappeared. These orbs were flying around it, getting faster and faster. All of a sudden, the plane that was it. It was gone. It was gone. And that is bizarre because where'd it go? What happened to it? And they haven't found anything yet. And, I remember at the time somebody said, well, aliens took it. And I'm going, okay, I'll go with that. I mean, there's no other explanation for it. All of a sudden, it just disappears. They can't find it. No trace of it, nothing. I'm going, okay. These guys smoking a joint walking over there. I love this place. Well, those guys look like they're going to work or something. They're smoking a joint. But anyway, yeah, so I said, okay, maybe aliens did grab it, but it might not have been aliens. It might have been the U.S. government. It wasn't aliens. It was the U.S. government with this new technology they have. So, hey, anybody can't find another explanation? I'll go with the whistleblower. I'll go with this guy who says that's what happens. And the United States has this technology. But it's kind of scary if you think about it. I mean, they can just make things disappear. Wow. That's pretty wild stuff. Now, speaking of China, and we'll talk about them in a minute after I get to my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. And Hamel Machine's been around since 1948, and they've been serving industry in Niagara Falls. And every industry needs a good machine shop at their disposal because a lot of times when things break, parts break, they can't wait for new parts to come in. Time is money. Shutting down to wait is not good. So what do? They take the part to Hamel Machine Company. Hamel Machine Company either fixes the part or re-engineers it. Yeah, they just re-engineer it. They make a new one from the old one, from the sample. They have 3D printers. They have water jet cutters. They can do this no problem. If they have the machine, they'll bring it in and they can fix the machine, whatever it needs to happen. A new axle, a new shaft, new bearings, new keyway cut in for shear pins and stuff. They can do it all. They don't. It doesn't matter. And they don't just serve small industry; it's big industry they serve. And not only do they re-engineer parts and that kind of thing, they also invent things. They look at a part and say, if you did this, it would be better. It would work faster. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you time and money. And they start making these parts, and now they're selling them all over the world. They ship them all over the world. So pretty cool stuff. They're innovators. They're manufacturers. They're fixer-uppers, and even for little guys like us, you want a back gate instead of back gates for your backyard. You need something done for your pool pump or whatever. They can do it. They can fix it for you. That's what they do, and they're good at it. Hamel Machine Company. You want to take anything there you need fixed, and you want to get it fixed. They'll do it for you, and they're not going to break the bank doing it. They're a bunch of good people over there. Check out their website, hamelmachine.ca. You'll see the fantastic work that they do and all the different variations of work they do for different industries. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you if you go visit them, and support our sponsors because they support the show in the city. So speaking of China, they're going down faster than the Titanic. I mean, if you look back to when Reagan broke Russia with his Star Wars initiative, and they said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. That's exactly what Trump's doing. The very same thing. He's breaking them using tariffs, though, instead of Star Wars. He's breaking them using tariffs. As the tariff wars are in full force right now with China, hundreds of thousands of containers of Chinese goods sit on docks in their biggest port with no buyers for their goods. They have nowhere to ship them. Factories are halting production because they're not selling anything. And employees are being laid off and are now out of work. And over there, it's not like here, there's no safety net. You're out of work, you don't have any money. Well, it's up to you how you're going to eat. So they're going slowly filtering back to the farms that they came from to grow food. So they got something to eat. And those who have no farms to go to are on the streets protesting and telling government to help them out, a government which has nothing without trade with the US. They don't have any money, they're broke. So the people, of course, are refusing to pay taxes. They can't pay taxes or anything. So there's no money coming in now for these guys. And as the factories close down, it gets worse and worse. It's like a domino effect. And they're in big trouble over there. Xi Jinping, he may be on his way out. They're going to throw him out. Unless they come to the table and work out something with Trump. Their whole economy depends on trade with the US. Without that, it's over for them. The US, on the other hand, will just produce what they need at home. Sure, some prices may be a little bit higher at first, but once they get going and they're starting to be built back in the United States, the price will come down and they'll be more reasonable. And it doesn't matter whether it's pharmaceutical, auto parts, plain gadgets that we use every day in the house. You know, everybody buys them from China. Most of them come from China or Taiwan anyway. They get produced and sold at home. Prices are going to level off, and they won't be dependent on the Chinese manufacturers. And basically, they won't be dependent on any other country for that matter, because any other country is going to bring stuff in the United States is going to get tariffed. They're going to make trade fair. It should be called fair trade, not free trade. And this is really going to come into play with Trump's new plan to make America great again. Because if a world war does break out, the United States really does need its in-house manufacturing. What, you're going to call up China? Hey, we need some steel. Well, screw you. We're fighting you. What about aluminum blocks for engines for military vehicles? No, yeah, you're not getting that neither. So it's better they manufacture in the U.S. We saw that with COVID. They had to order these masks, and China was withholding them. And they're in for a tough ride on this COVID too, because now it's being proven it was created in their lab. It got out. They never told the world about it. And then when it did spread around the world, they wouldn't sell them masks and everything else they needed. So from now on, Trump is saying, no, it's not going to happen again. We're not going down that road again. We're manufacturing in America for Americans. And if anybody else wants to come into the country to do that, they're welcome. They won't have to pay any tariffs on what they manufacture, but they're going to have to invest in the United States to be able to do that. So that's fantastic. And that's the way it should be. And that's the way it's going. And that's the way it's going to be with Trump at the helm. That's the way it is. Now, of course, Trump is promises made, promises kept, and one of them was transparency. He's going to release the files relating to JFK, which have been released, and now they've released the files on RFK and MLK. So Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy and Martin Luther King. Those files have been released. There are tens of thousands of pages now available to the public that have to do with those two assassinations as well as the JFK one. And there's more to come. They've released 10 to 50,000 pages right now, but the FBI and CIA warehouses are being sourced for more information that may not have made it to the National Archives where the other ones are. So they have like 100 people. All they're doing all day and all night, 24 hours a day, is digitizing every piece of paper in the FBI and CIA files on these assassinations. And then they have people looking in the actual warehouses for the FBI and CIA for files that never made it to the National Archives. Now, of course, we're finally going to get to the truth about what happened on that fateful night at the Ambassador Hotel in LA, where RFK was shot dead while exiting the building after a big speech. We should also get to look at the MLK murder as well. If you want to search this stuff, and I did, I went in there, took a look, go to the website archives.gov/RFK. I went there, and there are 230 entries, and once you start going through them, it's addicting. You read one, and you see, oh, look at this, and then you go to the next one, and the next one. You could spend hours looking in there for stuff. There's so much to read there, but I'm sure if I get through it all, I'll find out more than I previously knew from the government, but probably I won't have time to do it. But there are people who are going to just sit there and make a living out of going through this and sending the reports to the news media to report on them. So that's pretty cool. It's all there, unredacted for you to see. Go check it out, archives.gov/RFK or MLK or JFK. How simple it is. But man, there's a lot there. Be ready. Be ready for work because it'll take you a long time to get through it all. It's too bad they didn't have some way to search it and look for different clues. You could probably open one of the PDF files. Well, in the one PDF file, though, there's pages and pages, so you'd have to, I don't know, you'd have to know a keyword, and you can search it, and they'll bring you to all the pages that contain that keyword. If you can figure out some keywords, it'd be good. Or you can ask AI and see what they have to say about it, because they'll search everything. They know it all. Well, remember the Twin Towers going down and how outrageous it was that day, how crazy it was when they collapsed, and all of a sudden, Building 7 collapsed as well. And we knew that Building 7 had nothing to do with the WTC buildings. It was separate and apart, and all of a sudden, it just collapsed too, while somebody said, pull it. Was finally confirmed that WT7 was pulled. It didn't go down because of World Trade Center 1 and 2 going down. It was demolished, which leads to the question, who set the charges to bring it down, and when were those charges set? Because you just don't go in and do it the day of. It takes months to figure out a controlled implosion of a building, a big building, 47 stories. Too much to go in one day and set all the charges properly to bring it down. It takes months and months of examination and that kind of thing to figure it all out. And over at the Twin Towers, now there's evidence that the firefighters had gone up the stairs and they got to floor 78 where the plane hit. And when they were there, they were radioing that they were at floor 78 and there's a few fires going on, but nothing they couldn't handle. They can handle the fires. They got it under control. And then right after that, the building collapsed. So how could they be at the 78th floor and everything's fine? And then all of a sudden, everything collapsed out from under them and kill them all. They didn't say there was a fire burning through the floor, or things were creaking, or they saw steel rods or beams bent, or any of that stuff. It was a straight fall, straight down, free fall time that they collapsed. So why did the buildings collapse? Well, we know. We saw cutter charges exploding, those little puffs of smoke out the side. And things just came down like a controlled implosion. And that takes time to set up. And guess who was the security in charge of security that day? Marvin Bush, George Bush's brother. How about that? And of course, lucky Larry Silverstein bought him in July, put all this insurance on him, and they dropped in September, and he got paid out a ton of money. So, yeah, it looks like a setup to me. So we have to find out. I hope they release this information. What's the true stories behind the Twin Tower collapse? And I think by now we know that it was a setup, and that the commission that they put together, the board or panel or whatever you want to call it, they put together was lying, just like the Warren Commission was lying. And anything that comes out of that commission is also a lie, because they said WT7 fell because of fires there, but that was baloney. So we need to know what really happened to the Twin Towers, what really went down to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and what really hit the Pentagon. Because it sure doesn't look like an airplane that hit the Pentagon at all. None of them, none of these questions, none of them have been answered truthfully. And the answers that we have, nobody believes anyway. Nobody believes that that's what happened. The pancake theory. No, that's been disproven. No steel building in the history of steel buildings has ever collapsed due to fire. They showed a real big one burning in Spain on fire. The top of the building was on fire like a Roman candle, and that didn't collapse. So that's a bunch of baloney. That's not what happened. And then we got to also ask who was involved. How were they allowed to fly into buildings if they did indeed fly into buildings in the most protected airspace in the world? And where was the military that day to intercept these planes? It's all going to come out. Everything's going to come out. The Trump effect is not only taking over the world, it is taking over all conspiracy theories and bringing out the truth about JFK, about RFK, about MLK, about Epstein and P. Diddy, about UFOs and aliens, about teletransportation, everything. And everything about the terrorist attacks, the alleged terrorist attacks on September 11th is going to come out as well. There's way too many questions, not enough answers. So let's hope they release these documents and get to the bottom of it. I mean, even Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson, if you remember back, because I watched him a lot, was saying there's no way that anything else happened, that this was all correct, that the buildings pancaked, that planes hit them, they weren't drones or anything else, and that all these guys were guilty, Muhammad Atta and everybody else, and that kind of thing. But now he's on national TV saying he's re-examining his thoughts on this, and he's beginning to question exactly what happened that morning back in 2001. And I don't blame him. Got to open your eyes there, Tucker. You're a guy who watches conspiracy stuff, but it's all going down, ladies and gentlemen. The Trump effect is taking over the United States and the world. Everybody's coming to the table to negotiate it. And, that was pretty weird with the Pope, what happened there. 1 hour before he died or so, J.D. Vance was there talking to him, wishing him a happy Easter, telling him he's going to say prayers for him to get better. An hour later, this guy dies. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. And then the same day he dies, Klaus Schwab, the guy who said, "You will have nothing and like it," he resigns as well. I think what we're seeing here is Trump destroying the deep state and the New World Order. He's destroying it piece by piece. The Pope was part of it. Schwab was definitely part of it. Carney's part of it. Biden and his crew were part of it. Trudeau was part of it. He's destroying these guys. They're running scared. He's not fooling around with them. And that's what you're seeing. And the Pope was just another casualty. And, I got a question if the Pope has even been alive. It was a robotic thing or something, because this guy's been in bad shape for a long time, and he wasn't really well liked in the church itself. The fundamental Christians, the people who go by the Bible, didn't like any of his leniency towards LGBTQ people, towards divorce people having communion and everything else. He was a very liberal Pope. Now, you might not think that, but in the church circles where the Bible is the key, he was considered very liberal. And a lot of them didn't like what's going on. So we've got other people that are stepping up to vote in a new pope. You'll see the white smoke when they do. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle it. Because there's been so many scandals with the Catholic Church, tons of scandals from the indigenous schools and from pedophiles in the church ranks that they never took to task. It was like a home for them. They just keep moving them around, wouldn't arrest them and get rid of them like they should. There's been a lot of stuff that this Pope has let go. And a lot of the people on the inside are not liking it too much. So we'll see who they elect as the next Pope when the conclave of cardinals gets together to elect it. But he was definitely a guy that Trump never got along with real well. Although Trump said he was a good guy, and they're going to go to the mass and the funeral on him, and Melania are going to go to the funeral whenever it is next week or whatever. They're going to go and attend it. He ordered all the flags at half staff on public buildings in the United States in his honor, but he wasn't a big fan. He wasn't a real big fan. So there you go. I'm telling you, there's stuff going on in this world. It hasn't even been 100 days for Trump. He's already starting to change everything, and then he's changing it for the better. You just got to hold on. You know, before you win, you got to get wrecked. That's the way it goes. No matter what you do, a lot of times before you win, you have to get wrecked. And right now, he's tearing apart the old guard, the old system. He's putting it in with a new system. And once this gets going and everything's right, everybody's going to be better off for it. And that's it for today. That's all I have to say. You got to believe. Get out and vote. You can't pre-vote anymore. That ended yesterday night at 9. So now you got to wait till next week, 28th. But you got to get out and vote. Get out and vote. I did my poll. 57% for Baldinelli, 32% for Kaiser, and 10% for Shannon Mitchell. That's counting signs. That's what I got. Now you can go around town doing the same little poll, and let's see what you get. Report it in the comments on the video. John Ringo Beam, you're all over the place. Count signs, buddy. Count signs. Give me a report. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. God bless you all. Please support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza, and Hamill Machine Company. I will see you Thursday with Straight Talk Thursday, because tomorrow is absolutely coming to you live from 4680Q. And we're going to talk about last night's game. Montreal lost in overtime. I think they did a lot better than a lot of people gave them credit for. They were down 2-0 and came back. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow for you Habs fans. We're going to go through the games and everything else and what we think is going to happen in the future. Leafs won. They play again tonight, I believe, so I have to watch some of that game. I didn't watch the first game, but I'll see what they do tonight. Ottawa's a tough team. We'll see if they can grab one back from the Leafs. And that's it. I'm out of here. Have a great day, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the video. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Oh, and I got to mention my buddy Gary Wilkins. He's up in Vaughan today at a PP rally. That's right. He scooted up to Vaughan for the Pierre Poilievre rally. So I should get some news from him about what's going on up there, and I'll report it on Thursday with the show. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Go outside and enjoy the weather. It's a beautiful day out there.